News from our continent now. The presidents of Zimbabwe and Botswana have agreed to the free movement of their citizens. So people travelling between Zimbabwe and Botswana no longer need to use passports. A national from both countries can spend up to 90 days per year in the other country without using a passport or work visa or permit. They only need IDs to cross the border. Botswana signed a similar agreement with Namibia earlier. We're joined now by the Zimbabwe and Lesotho permit holders chair, that's Mufaro Dzviti. Mr. Dzviti, thank you for being with us. You've congratulated both countries. Why is this the right move, do you think, and what are the benefits for both these countries?
Good afternoon, or I must say good evening to you and to all the SABC listeners. We've congratulated the two countries for removing the use of passports for travelers from Botswana and Zimbabwe going in between the two countries, because these borders that we have are colonial borders. They were not supposed to be there in the first place. We must take, for an example, is the richest nations like United States of America. That's what it used to be. And self-isolation, which is happening between the countries like Botswana, is to hinder all other Africans from not making the explorers come and take diamonds, so they can mine diamonds. There's diamonds in Botswana, there's other mines of interest in South Africa. So it's to make other Africans not to interfere in what is supposed to be Africans. As one Africa, we should be one family. There shouldn't really be borders between South Africa and Zimbabwe. There shouldn't be borders between Lesotho and South Africa. Because as you know, Zulu people and the Hele people were originally one people. They are cousins, and ever since the borders were put, they now look like they are strangers to each other. So we are really grateful with the removal of passports between Zimbabwe and Botswana and what happened between Namibia and Botswana. And we hope the same will apply to all countries between Cape and Cairo, so that all Africans can go and visit each other without the need of the passports.
Well, can we just clarify? I mean, it doesn't mean that a person from Botswana can go and work in Zimbabwe or vice versa, right? They don't have rights to work, but they can stay, and this will benefit traders, for example, women who go and buy goods in one country and sell in another, and the like.
Yeah, thanks so much for saying that. Yeah, the use of IDs for now is just for visits up to 90 days, which is quite a good move, because we are moving to a better move where eventually we want borders to be completely removed in Africa, so that people can move freely and work everywhere. We hope one day we have one currency in Africa. It should be one party state, and all these countries like South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe should one day become states, like provinces, but you call them states like other states, United States of America, so that we have one currency, and then we are all like one family throughout Africa. Because right now the issue of xenophobia within countries shouldn't be really existing in Africa. We should be one people, right? And we applaud the move, because if you look at the passport itself, it's just a registration that one is gone from one country to another and back in Africa. And now that we are going to use IDs between Botswana and South Africa, it's still the same way. There isn't much difference, because when you come back with your ID, they are able to tell at the point of entry that such and such a person, which is you, entered the country on such a day, and you just have to keep in your mind the dates that you are supposed to go back to your country. We hope that will also happen within South Africa.
All right, so it just makes things a little bit easier, but you hope that it's even extended. Of course, if there's free movement of people and ultimately labor, then the countries that are richer or that are perceived to have more opportunity might be overwhelmed. I mean, South Africa has seen an influx of migrants already. What would you say to South Africans who say, well, the people coming in are taking my job?
Yeah, if you look at my perspective, I'm quite aware that South Africa has got a lot of people coming from Malawi, from Zimbabwe and other countries, and it's overwhelmed. But when we become one party state, it helps us to be working together. Like if we have one currency in Africa, there will be no need to look for a rand, for someone coming to South Africa to look for a rand. We'll be using one currency which will be available all of Africa, and we'll look at a bigger picture that as Africa we now have resources. The oil that is being made in Nigeria will also benefit South Africa in one way or another. So the influx of people will be vice versa, because we will now be interdependent. Like when it comes to tourists, now South Africans will now be able to travel to big falls, not as foreigners, right? We'll be able to travel to big falls and tour, and all these touring companies will now be able to take people to Victoria Falls, to Hwange Game Reserve, and Zimbabweans will also be able to go to in Cape Town like all other people. So,
all right, we've lost you, but I hear what you're saying. It will uplift tourism and a whole lot of economies if Africans can move freely between African countries. Thank you very much. Zimbabwe and Lesotho permit holders chair Luke Mufaro Dzviti.